Good afternoon. It's February 24th, 2005. I'm Mel Livingston, and this afternoon, Tom Bush and I, on behalf of the Southwest Georgia Regional Library, are interviewing Don Miller on his experiences in World War II. Don, tell us when you were drafted, I think, in St. Louis.
I was drafted in St. Louis, Missouri.
And you were about 18 years old.
No, I was about 20, probably 20, 21.
Oh, you older than me. And at that time, that was 1942, 43?
42. Latter part of 42. I took my basic training at Fort McClellan, Alabama in 43. Then I was assigned to the 83rd Infantry Division. I went overseas in a fleet of Liberty ships, which a number of them were sunk by German submarines on the way into Scotland. We landed in Scotland and went into England to a staging area.
But your ship wasn't sunk.
No.
You made it over. Now you got over, you went to Scotland in about 1943, early 44.
Late 43.
And you were assigned to the 83rd Infantry.
When I got over there, I went over there I didn't know what I was going to be when I got over there, but when I got over there and was sent into England, that's where I joined the 83rd Infantry Division.
And you were a rifleman?
I was a rifleman.
And you went...
I was a private at the time.
Yeah. And you went on through Scotland, went on through England.
Well, our ship landed in Scotland, and then by rail or trucks, I can't really remember, it's been so long ago, we went down to somewhere in England to a staging area, and various ones of them were assigned to different outfits, and I was assigned to the 83rd Infantry Division.
When did you get to France? Were you training in England?
No. I had all my basic training. When I left Fort McClellan, Alabama, I had already made sergeant. And I was a platoon sergeant. And that's what I was when I was with the 83rd Infantry Division. Then I got one more rank. I went up to a staff sergeant. But May, I'm going to tell you something. You know, during all this commotion and after we went into France, probably one of the finest men I ever knew, his name was Lieutenant Master Cola. He was from Ashtabula, Ohio, and he was my lieutenant commander in my unit, and he was killed. And I had a chance to take a battlefield commission if I wanted right down there and be a lieutenant. And I wanted to stay just like I was. I didn't want the responsibility of what he had to go through and all that kind of stuff. So I was advanced to a staff sergeant, and that's how I came out of the Army as a staff sergeant.
Well, when did you go to France?
I went in D plus, D-Day was the 6th. I went in the 21st. I went in D plus 15 into Normandy. And then from there to France.
Well, you said you were in the St. Louis breakthrough.
Oh yeah, but before the St. Louis breakthrough, we went through the hedgerows.
Tell us a little bit about the hedgerows.
It's just indescribable. It's just mounds of high earth, higher than your head, and nothing but roots and trees and rocks and stones. And it could be anywhere from 6 feet wide to 20 feet wide, and you're on one side and the Germans are on the other. You're close enough you can hear them talking back and forth, and they talk back and forth. They'll holler at you or you'd holler at them, and every now and then you'd see something or hear something coming up over the top of the hedgerow, and you look down, and they had a grenade, they called it a potato masher. It had a handle on it. And at that time, they weren't smart enough to realize that when they threw it over there, we had enough time, a lot of them, to pick them up and throw them back over to them. So they finally got smart, and they would hold them long enough that they could time them so when they threw them, they knew that we didn't have time to pick them up and throw them back. And I'm one of the few that survived a lot of the head casualties that went on the head. And finally, it took big, heavy equipment, like big bulldozers and stuff like that from some of the other parts of the division to go in there and bust holes through these hedgerows. So instead of us trying to cut our way through the top, we could go around the sides, and that's the way we advanced and got out of the hedgerow country. I wish everybody could read that book of the 83rd Infantry Division. I know there was other units over there, but our division was probably, and I'm not saying this facetiously, I'm very sincere about this, we were probably one of the prime divisions in the land fighting in France and Belgium and Luxembourg and into Germany.
Did you, but when you landed at D-Day on Omaha Beach, there was no fighting going on there.
Oh yeah.
Still?
Oh yeah. We were under heavy, heavy artillery fire. See, they still hadn't cleared out all them. They had bunkers that were just unbelievable. You know, a shell couldn't hardly penetrate them. But they had all the time in the world to prepare for all this.
Well, after the breakthrough, which way did you go then? Did you capture? I mean, I think you told me you captured.
Well, after the breakthrough, we went. I can't remember all the towns, but there was one called the Isle of Cizambre. It was an island off in an area there that the Germans were occupied, and they were doing a lot of heavy firing, like into St. Malo and places like that. We trained to take that island, and the day that we were getting ready to assault that island, the Germans surrendered. And our artillery from the 83rd and other artillery units had pounded it so bad they had just about destroyed all the bunkers they had out there. And I think we captured 323 some German soldiers and some big high officials like generals and all that kind of stuff. But one thing, Mayo, that you'd never believe, and I can't remember exactly where it was, it's in that book if you want to read it. We had 20-some thousand Germans surrender us at one time. The generals wanted us to stage a mock battle so that they wouldn't lose face. The German generals and all. And I think at this time we were connected with Patton. And I'm not real sure about that either. You know, we're talking about 60 years ago. And they wanted us to stage a mock battle so they wouldn't lose face. But it wound up, we took a little over 20-some thousand German prisoners, captive. And there's pictures in that book, shows them marching down the road, even with their guns on their shoulders. Because the only way we didn't have any way of amassing all these guns and take care of them. But they also were afraid that the French patriots and stuff like that would kill them. That was the only way they had to protect themselves against the French, because the French hated them. And it's interesting. I wouldn't give anything in the world for what I went through, but I don't want me or anybody else to have to go through it again. And the boys are doing this right now. You did it in Korea, you did it in Vietnam, and they're doing it in Iraq right now. So.
Well, was that when you met so many of the Germans, the kids?
Oh no, the young kids from 12 to 14, 15, 16, we met them in the Hurtgen Forest. Because by this time, the main German army, the older men, they were depleted. He didn't have any more big, older soldiers. He called them his SS elite troops or something. They were young kids. They were fanatics. They were Nazi fanatics is what they were. And in the Hurtgen Forest, there was so much artillery fire and all them trees that it just cut the tops out of tree after tree, and those tops would fall on the ground. And 9 out of 10 of those treetops had German soldiers underneath. And you couldn't figure out which ones had them in. We didn't know this at the time. You couldn't figure out where the fire was coming from. But they were underneath these treetops. And there was a lot of soldiers wounded and killed going through the Hertford Forest for that reason, until we became aware of what was going on. And a lot of them would dig holes underneath these trees and be down in there. You couldn't see them. And we got to the point where if we wanted to take refuge for an hour or two or something like that, we just try to clean out one of their holes where they were, and we'd get in it for a little bit to rest. When I was in Hertford Forest, I went 36 days without taking my shoes off. That's when I got trench foot in the wintertime, the snow and ice, cold, God.
That was after the Battle of Bulge.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's before we broke through the Battle of Bulge and went into Hertford Forest.
But you met a girl, where'd you stayed?
Well, I don't know whether this was in Tours or St. Malo, or it might have been St. Malo. Our shoes were getting pretty beat up, and there was a little sergeant, I think his name was Porosky. He was a Polish or something. Little bitty short guy, and our shoes were messed up. We were in this town, and we'd already taken this town. We were trying to find someplace to get our shoes fixed. And we were walking down the street, and we saw these two French girls, and there was a French older man with them. And I found out later one of the girls, it was her father. And we asked him, tried to make him understand where we could find a shoe store. And in the most perfect English you've ever heard, she answered us back and said, "Come with us." Her daddy was a shoe cobbler. And he took us, we took our shoes off, and he fixed our shoes, our boots, and we put them back on. But, there was a lot of good times, and there was a lot of bad times. Like I say, it's something I really don't like to get involved in it.
But Don, you were there.
Yeah, I was there.
And that's what we're trying to do.
I was there with along with a lot of others, and I was one of the ones that God blessed and let me come home. He blessed us all, but we weren't all as lucky as I was. So.
Well, was it in the Hertford Forest that you were wounded?
Oh no, it was beyond that, after that.
Oh.
When I'm trying to think, it was Remmelgen or...
Marvin?
No.
Were you in Germany when you were wounded?
There's a town called Wormeldang and Oberwormeldang. And that was, I'm trying to think if that was on I think it was on the Moselle River in Germany where it happened. But there's one place the Germans, and I'm sure you've heard about this, a big, monstrous gun mounted on railroad cars that they run up and down the rails. That thing would shoot 20 miles. And between the Air Force and artillery, they kept trying to knock the railroad out, so it couldn't run back and forth. In the meantime, they'd fix it, put it back so they could run back and forth, and it was, back and forth thing for a while.
Well, were you in the Battle of the Bulge itself, and the 83rd Division?
Yeah. I wish there was some way you could take excerpts out of that. It'll tell you the hedgerows, the Battle of the Bulge, Brittany, Belgium, the whole 9 yards is all in that book. That's why I want you to read it.
I will.
You may want to go through it and then add some things that will give you an idea exactly where the 83rd Infantry Division was.
I think you're doing a good job.
And I was in the 330th Battalion. And I've got all of that underlined in that book, highlighted. So you can just go from there and get a pretty good idea of what all went on. Were
you called into the Battle of the Bulge when they broke through, the Germans broke through?
I don't know whether we were called in or whether we was already there. I really don't remember.
Were you still a part of 3rd Army then?
Huh?
Were you still a part of Patton's 3rd Army?
It's all in, we were part of the 3rd Army.
Well, Patton is the commander who had to turn his forces and go and relieve by stone.
Let me tell you something, at one time, he was moving so fast, they couldn't keep fuel and stuff to his tanks and stuff to move. But at one time, we were moving even faster than Patton was, and it's right there in that book.
Yeah.
That's how fast we were
Yeah,
advancing.
the 83rd went to the relief. Y'all went to the relief of the people that were trapped by the Germans in the Battle of the Bulge, because Patton had to turn his whole army and march northward.
It's all, like I say, it's all in that book, and I'm gonna let Mayo go through it and pick out some things. If he wants to ask me more about certain things about it, he can, if I can recall and remember a lot of it. I don't remember a lot of it.
But after you left the breakthrough off of Normandy, where did y'all head then? Did you head towards Paris, or?
No, I never did see Paris.
You never saw it?
Huh?
You never saw Paris?
Well, I saw it, but we didn't stop to play like a lot of them did.
Well, you met a girl somewhere.
Huh?
You told me about meeting a girl.
Well,
and
that's
Dad
what I'm
was
talking
a
about the shoes.
Oh, all right, that was another one, but Dad was a pharmacist.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah, but that was in, oh gosh. I can't remember what town it was. Yeah, her dad was a pharmacist. And she had a sister and a little brother, and this same sergeant that I was talking about, I think his name was Borowski or somebody, Polish like name. When we had about 1 week that we were kind of not really involved, kind of pulled back out of the line. And those people used to fix us the finest meals you can imagine. Oh.
Well, tell us about when you got wounded. I thought that was interesting.
Well,
You told me about it, and
I don't really remember where it was, but this happened at night. And I was in a foxhole, and we had boards or something over the top of it, or limbs or something, and they started dropping, I don't know whether it was mortar shell or 88s, but one of them evidently hit. They say you never hear the shell that hits you. And I really believe that's true.
you didn't hear this.
I didn't hear this one until I heard two of the boys that was in the hole with me holler, "I'm hit." And evidently the shrapnel from either a mortar shell or an 88 had hit some of those big logs and limbs and blew down in the hole, and it got them, and it wounded me in the leg and the stomach, and just shrapnel. I still, well, I won't talk about that. But
But you,
that's when I got wounded.
and they were killed.
They were killed.
Did you know it at the time?
Not till daylight came. I kept talking to them, but they didn't they didn't answer me back, so I didn't know. I just thought they might be hurt. But it's dark. You had no light. You had nothing. You didn't have flashlights to find your way.
Well, where did the medic team picked you up and you went?
No, the medic didn't come to pick me up. I walked about probably 2 miles to where I could get with somebody that could get me to a medic.
Oh, okay.
You don't have a medic by alongside you everywhere you go.
And you went to the hospital in Belgium?
I went to hospital in Liège, Belgium. And then from there, I went to Bristol, England. And that's where I came out of the hospital in Bristol, England. And then after I got out of the hospital, I was sent to Tidworth, England. It was a staging area, and like I say, when you read in that book, you realize that what they did, what most of the 83rd Infantry Division was just completely dissolved. It didn't come back to the United States as the 83rd Infantry Division. It came back just in pieces, one here, one there, one here, and one there. Because I think really and truly what the plans were for a lot of people that were at Tidworth and other places in England was going to
Japan?
But none of us had to go. It was I guess I can thank Harry Truman for that. He's a Missourian like I am, so I have to thank him. He was a good president.
He was. Whatever you saw in him, and you didn't have to worry about him messing around.
If today was Thursday, and he said it was Thursday, it's Thursday.
Yeah, that's well put.
That's exactly how Harry Truman was, believe me.
Now, did you get into Germany? You were in Germany when you got hit. And that's
See
when
the Moselle River between Belgium and Germany.
And,
It is high hills all up and down. The Moselle goes through an area with real tall hills on either
Tell me
side.
about it. That's what I'm telling you about. When you were in Belgium, there was a town called Old Wormelding. It's set way up on the hill on the Moselle River. Wormelding was the one that was down by the edge of the river. That's why they called it Old Wormelding, because it's over the top of Wormelding.
and that's when you realized these kids were, the kids were fighting for Germany.
Well, this is Hurricane Forest.
Oh,
Before you got to that.
yeah, well, that's in Belgium,
What's that?
the Hurricane Forest.
Oh, yeah, I say this is after the Hurricane Forest. The kids that I saw, the young boys that I saw in German uniforms was in the Hurricane Forest.
What?
Because I'm going to tell you something. By the time the 83rd and all the other units got to the Moselle River and to the Rhine, and I didn't get to the Rhine, there wasn't very many Germans left to fight. They had been pretty well done. They had nothing to fight with. As fast as they'd bring tanks and airplanes, they got shot out of the sky and their tanks were just blown to pieces. The Germans were excellent soldiers. I mean, they were good soldiers. The biggest problem with them was they were just outmanned and outmachined. We had the ability of producing so much equipment to fight them with that they couldn't keep up with us because we were destroying their factories, their railroads. They had no way of transporting it back and forth. Their airfields were bombed. They couldn't take off. But here we are back in the United States and building stuff as fast as you wanted to build it. Nobody was bombing it. That's why we did what we did to the Germans as quick as we did.
Well, did you meet any of the German civilians? Did you have any?
I met them, but I don't, recall having any real relationships with any of them. Because, you couldn't tell the good from the bad. You got the same thing here today in terrorism.
What about some
You
of the
can walk
German?
down the street, you don't know whether the man you're going to pass on the street's going to shoot you or not shoot you.
What about some of the German allies? I know that they had the Romanians, they had Hungarians.
I couldn't tell you a Romanian from a Hungarian or anything. All I know is, what I saw when I was, I really didn't get into that. And we were told, and I'm sure you could do the same thing. When you went into a town to occupy a town, you had nothing to do basically with anybody. Because you may not come out of there. You couldn't trust nobody. A lot of the French people were the same way. You couldn't trust a lot of the French people. Because a lot of those French people were involved with the Germans. Germany had occupied France for quite a while. And some of them were involved with French women and this and that and stuff like that. You couldn't trust them. You had to be very careful what you did. So you had to be pretty much alone, unless you're with your own people.
How many of the people in your platoon or company were casualties? How many of the people was in your platoon?
Probably 36. You usually had 3 squads of 12.
Well, have you kept up with any that came back?
I have no idea. None whatsoever. As far as I know, I've never gotten, like I say, when the war was over And it'll tell you in that book, the 83rd Infantry Division was dissolved. It did not come back to the States as a division like it did when it went over.
If you got on the internet, you'll find that the 83rd Division probably has a website that'll have a lot of
I never
information.
thought about that. I can get my wife to look that up.
You'll find-
I'm not a computer person. You couldn't give me a computer.
But almost every one of those divisions have their own website now, and they'll
You
have...
come up with a
information.
good idea. I'll get Patricia to check it on it. I really will.
I wish you'd let me know what you come up with.
All right, I sure will. I'll get her and my daughter Tanya. Because she's, her and my son-in-law, God, they're big time. He works on computers also. They're big time. In fact, she's going to Bainbridge right now taking advanced stuff in computers.
Well, when you were in Europe, did you have any idea what was going on in Japan, Okinawa?
Not much of it. Not one thing.
Somebody else told us the same thing, to really just take care of yourself.
That's exactly right. You had all you need to take care of and worry about where you were.
Well, you mostly walked. I mean, did you have...
Well, we take a town and we, between us, our battalion, another battalion, or another outfit or something would go ahead and take it on and clean out another area, then we'd be loaded up in trucks and rushed to another section, to keep them having to walk all that. But you need to advance and keep them on the move. That's all you had to do.
But after you left the hospital, you went back to Bristol, to a stadium.
No, I went to a hospital in Bristol. I went from Liège, Belgium hospital to a hospital in Bristol, England. Then when I was relieved from the hospital in Bristol, I went to Tidworth, England. That was a big staging area for American troops were there. That's where a lot of the boys would come into that were going to be replacements for people like me that were wounded, or some of those that were killed, replacements to go, into the other parts of the war zone.
When the war ended in May of 45, where'd you go from there? Y'all, did you come?
Went home. June, I think, is when I came home.
And you got out, but the war in Japan wasn't over then. Y'all still figured on going to Japan?
When was the war in Japan?
August.
Maybe it was later in June when I came home, and I don't really remember.
But you came back to the U.S.
Yeah,
You didn't
I came
go,
back on a Liberty ship just like I came over.
You didn't go through the Suez Canal, so.
Oh, no. No, we came straight from England to the United States.
And you got out in late 1945, I think you told me.
Didn't I show you my discharge paper?
Later.
I think it was 45, I don't remember. Like I say,
I've been,
it's all behind me, and
well, it is.
it's over and done with, and I'm glad it is. And that's why I don't like to talk about it too much. I don't want people to think that I'm bragging about doing this or bragging about that, because I'm not. I'm just thankful to God that He let me do what I did and that I'm home alive. That's my theory.
Well, that's enough.
You better believe it is.
Yeah.
When you read that book, how many of them didn't make it? Out of just our division, you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Well, where most of them buried, do you know? Have you got any idea? I've got a reason.
Wait till he shuts this off and I'll tell you something.
Well, Don, thank you for doing this.
Well, I appreciate your giving me the opportunity to do it, Bill, and maybe it'll help somebody down the road.
Well, thank you for what you've done.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Yeah.